Oh, hey, Kevin.
Hey, we
How the
made
heck have
it.
you been, man?
I have been great. Really, really well. How about yourself?
Oh,
Still
man,
having the best day ever.
best day ever. Oh, where do we have voice volume? Oh, there
Where's
we
that
go.
coming from?
Yeah, yo, we are back. Yeah, hey, Donald, what's going on? uh, yes, sorry. Work kind of got in a little bit of a priority, so I had to take a little time off for that, but that is okay. But excited to be back talking fabric with everyone. So,
Yeah, definitely.
did
Yeah,
you
it
get
was
to do
it, it
it?
was it was a good month. You're right. The whole month of July and everything, and I'm glad you were able to get all your client training in. But yeah, I think it's a good time for at least down here in Texas, man. We're hitting that hot 100-degree stretch. I think it's gonna get, like,
Oof.
to 102, 103 today or something like that, so,
Oh my gosh, that
yeah.
is crazy. That
Yeah, so I just stay inside and work on fabric stuff, you know?
Oh, what else? What else would you possibly do, right?
Exactly.
How hot did you say it's gonna get?
I think today, in the 102 to 104 range type of thing, that's where our next few
102 to
days.
104. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
and that's just a regular heat, right? I mean, the heat index takes it up just a little bit hotter, so we're at the time where the mornings start out at 80 degrees or above, so it doesn't really cool off overnight, and that's really what kind of kills everything. So
Ugh, that is no
yeah,
good. No good
no.
at all. Um,
Hey, Jack made it back with us. So
yeah. Yes, good morning, Jack. Good to see you. Excited to be back here. Yeah.
so were you able to do anything during July besides just training, or because I
Uh,
know, yeah, we see you sometimes on our Saturday morning learning, and you were heavily going through your PowerPoints and everything. It seemed like that was busy, but what else have you been up to?
yeah, so we had a good summer. I'll kind of excited here. I'll even share. So we had a nice summer uh, with our grandson. He came over, and we actually got to go to this wildlife park last week, and it was absolutely
Oh,
fantastic.
nice.
The weather was great. We got matching t-shirts, so it was super fun to get out there and do that stuff. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
it was it was it was a great time. And if you're ever in Southeast Wisconsin, there's the Shalom Wildlife Park. Again, we're not sponsored by Shalom. I don't think they do sponsorships. They're not, you know, the- I
Because
don't
they
think they're.
serve Buffalo Trace there.
Yeah, no, no, they do not. But it's a great time. Like you get to get out and like they have these little like buckets of apples you can get to give to the horses and the bears and whatnot, and no slabs of meat to give to the tigers though, but it's really good.
I
uh,
was just thinking that. I was thinking through because we fed elephants when we were in Bali, and I fed a tiger, so
oh, you did?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the I guess we haven't talked about this before. I thought maybe we did, and that's why you said it. But yeah, when we had a trip to Bali, my wife and I, and at their zoo, they have a tiger that you could feed, and so they have a big, you know, pole stick, and they put a piece of chicken on the end of it, and then you hold it way up high,
Yeah.
and I mean, if you're stupid enough, because we're they bring you in, they have like a little fence, and then where the cage is. I mean, if you're stupid enough, you can put your hand right through the cage and touch the tiger, right? So you hold it
Yeah.
up high, the tiger goes up with his paws, hits at it, and gets it, and yeah, I did that. So I had to, how to see. Those are some pictures I ought to find and give to you because I think my wife got one good one, so one or two good ones.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Would love to see those pictures. Add them in on our little like warm up video or intro video. That would be fantastic. Where the heck was I going with that? Oh, we also did learn that if you are horribly irresponsible and you show up near the end of when they're like, it takes a minimum of 2 hours to get through the place. They're only open till 5. Like if you show up at like 3:15 and you're racing to get through and you're at the Tigers as they're about to close, they do feed them then, so you can actually watch them feed the Tigers. But you have to be completely irresponsible adults to take advantage of that. That's a problem there. Well, I guess you could come early and just take your time going through the place.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I see Christina is here, and she's going to be talking about DAX Query View as well today. So maybe she's getting a couple of ideas.
Well, I'm excited to. I wish I was at St. Louis to see what you got going on there, Christina. Maybe you'll have to pop in and show us what you're doing. But yeah, honestly, so let's dive into it, right? Kevin, what the heck is DAX Query View? Why should I care about it? Where would I find it? How does this work? Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. So DAX Query View. So think about how we tend to use DAX Studio, right? And probably one of the biggest questions once people figure out that in DAX Query View, you're running the DAX, query, right? Obviously the name, right? Just like how we run queries inside DAX Studio. DAX Studio does allow you to still do performance analyzation, right? You can analyze and see the query plan and stuff. We don't have that in DAX Query View, but we could use it so much to explore our data, to actually take the queries that we see that are run by the visuals, right? Because the way Power BI visuals work is, you configure them, you have slicers all around them and everything. So dynamic, every time that visual refreshes, it produces a query, right? That includes your measures that you put. Most people think about DAX just in the form of measures, but that measure is put into a bigger query, sent off to the engine. And that's actually what the engine runs. Just like the SQL engine runs SQL queries, right? And you could have functions that you include within your query. Well, the function would be like the measure, right? And the SQL query, select star from where. I think I've heard that once or twice. So the DAX query, right, is evaluate function, and then whatever functions you put in. So the where part becomes how you do your filtering and everything. So I think it's important to know and understand how they work. If you want to write, say, paginated reports against your semantic model, you could do that with DAX queries. Now, of course, the paginated report builder will try to build things for you, but if you need to get a little bit special, right, then I think it's good to know these DAX queries. So it's not like like everybody has to know them, but I think it's good to know them to help you with your debugging, to help with your learning. If you watch the SQL BI stuff, so many times they're actually showing you the DAX queries that they're running rather than just the visuals and everything, right? And how they're modifying them. So to have this basic understanding. Now, the other thing, and our friend John Kursky is really, really good at this. And I've dabbled in it, and I keep trying to push it along. Christina does as well. But using it to monitor your data, right? Your data quality. And John uses it a whole lot within his DevOps approach, right? So he'll have DAX queries that he builds into, say, I think the command line processor, or now him and I've been talking about how we could do it with the DAX query that's stored with Power BI Desktop, and have that run every time you're doing a deployment so that you're checking your model. So that I think is a really good use case for it for when you're starting on the desktop. But today we're going to switch a little bit, and maybe it is just a little bit early, but it's available for you up on the service now, which I actually do like because I've used it to explore the data a little bit. I think there's still some things missing, and Dan in the chat has a sad face, right? I don't know if you got that up right now. I got a whole new setup. I'm getting used to where I got to have my screens and everything. So
it's all good.
Yeah,
So let me ask the question, and you can answer it, because I just don't know. Dan's asking, he's been using DAX Query View in the service, but doesn't seem to save the queries with the model. Is he missing something, or is that a limitation
He is
today?
definitely not missing anything.
Okay.
It is not, it does not save today. And I think you get a warning. I have been getting warnings, and we'll see here when we go to my screen here in just a second. It will save them when you use desktop, right? But today we're going to kind of show about we're going to show in the service a little
Okay.
bit. So yeah, I expect that to be coming. Um, I really have I have not kind of studied this with off of the MVP side or anything, but what I would suspect is we might have a new object type, right? That I don't know that they'll have an object for every query, but what I would hope is to see something like an object that is your DAX query collection, right? So that you only have one thing and then you open it up and you have all your queries underneath it. Maybe
Hmm.
it's going to get stored and exposed with the model itself, and then actually that's probably the better way, right? Because if they when you're saving the model on desktop, you could publish it to the service. The queries don't go, but let's say that the queries would go, and then when you do it on the service, it also adds it into the model itself. I would think they're just trying to figure out what the right place to store and what their storage model needs to look like up there. But I expect them to get there. Um,
Okay.
and once that happens, that I think that's going to open up all kinds of automation type of things. Again, the biggest thing is, right, if you have some standard DAX queries, rather than having a whole separate report, right, maybe you could run these queries and take and evaluate the output to see if you have or not performance problems, but data quality problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And since you could define your own measures within there, you're not polluting, especially a self-service model, you're not polluting that with all these specialized measures that are just for checking the quality of your data that could be embedded within the query. I'm hoping it's going to go that way. We'll see.
Yeah, I would like to see it. And it's nice talking about to understand it, but uh, Kevin, are you able to show us what this is?
I
How this
am.
works?
We want to do like Guy in the Cube, and let's go to
All right, there you go.
my machine. All right, so I have a workspace here, and what I want to be able to do is show you guys the DAX query. So I'm going to first, I have a semantic model that I produced, and I believe this is actually a direct lake model. I'm using the Contoso data. So, one of the things that I think came out while we were off is the SQL BI guys came out with a version 2 of their Contoso demo data generator. So it's a whole lot easier to get the Contoso data now. And so I built out a model. And when we come up here, I wonder if I turn Zoom it on. Look at that.
Zoom it, baby.
If we come up and we could see,
Ooh.
we have a little thing called write DAX queries. Now, the reason this is turned on is because in my workspace, let me go back to my workspace, is I went into workspace settings, and I believe it was under the Power BI. Let's see. You would think I would remember where these things are. Not data connections. Could have sworn. Oh, right here. There it is. Right in front of my face. Let's see if I can get it. Okay. You have to have this setting turned on in order to use it. Okay.
Okay.
So it is using an edit mode for the data model. The reason being is we know in desktop I could create, modify measures, right? So the same thing up in the service. I could edit my data model in the DAX Query View by testing my measures, saving ones that I want to change, which is another great use case of the DAX Query View. Is if you're going to modify a measure, you can write DAX queries to validate that you're getting the same returned information, but maybe make it more performant, or if you actually need to change it, you're getting the right result, something different than what originally comes in there. A whole different mode of maintaining, editing, creating measures, because you're going to have the model in the right state. Now, there are also, let me see, I think I captured it over here. You would think I would be like totally ready for all of this stuff. That's in,
Enterprise AR is so happy to see you doing a live demo right
I
away.
know, everybody loves this, right? I did capture a
Jumping right in.
screenshot.
What's Kevin doing? I don't know.
So, if you still have issues with turning that setting on, right, in the admin portal, you have to have this setting on as well. Okay. Users can edit data models in the Power BI service. So that has to be turned on. And you have to turn on that other option in the workspace. And if you're not a tenant admin, you may need to get your tenant admin to turn this on for you. But wait, there's more. There's even a third thing that has to be turned on.
What?
Yeah, I know.
No
It's
way.
ridiculous.
What is it?
I don't think I captured it. On your capacity, let me see. I could do it here because I could find this one pretty easily. On your capacity settings, if I go to my admin and I go to my capacities,
Yep.
you have to come into the
I'm
settings.
following along with Kevin, so like you're not doing this. You should be. Yeah.
That's not what I was looking for. I thought it was. Oh, here. Not admin permissions. I looked at this the other day and I should have captured it. Disaster recovery. There's another setting here that you got to turn the endpoint, the XMLA endpoint, to right. There it is. This is it right here.
Where'd you find that?
Okay, let me bring that up again. If I go Power BI workloads. Yeah, because it's obvious, right? I mean, it makes obvious sense once you find it.
Of course.
Right? There's other things you could change here, right? But this is the important thing: is the XMLA endpoint has to be set to read write in order for you to be able to do all this. So, 3 things, maybe in a better order than I just presented it.
We can just edit this video before we publish it.
Yeah, not a problem. The admin should turn on the admin setting, right? The whole tenant setting to allow it. Then on your capacity, make sure your XMLA endpoint is set to read write. And then on your workspace, turn on that setting. And I should remember exactly what it was called again, but under Power BI, general, that data model setting that users can edit the data model. All right. Are we all there?
But Kevin, I've done all those things. That's still not working for me. What?
Put in a court ticket.
Yeah. Why is it? Here are the 4 best 3 things. Because it is so obvious.
I need to meet Enterprise AR in real life. This is how I am all the time. So I mean, this is not unusual. Oh, too much.
Good morning, Jason.
Yeah, Jack. Oh, gee, this is so obvious. Yeah.
I'll say there's another thing you have to be aware of is you can't use it on data models with incremental refresh set up on it. So
the DAX Query View cannot be?
Correct.
Huh. Well,
it's a limitation for now. I'm sure it'll go away, at some point in time, but All
I learned
things progress, right?
I learned something today, so it's the best day ever.
Best day ever.
I wonder why that is. That's interesting. Okay, so trying to move on
And for
from
those of you watching, you too can have your own best day ever t-shirt. They are super low
woohoo.
quality. They cost a lot of money, and they will take an obscenely amount of time to ship to you. So,
You are the best
uh,
salesman ever.
they make like $1. It's like they're very overpriced, but it's something fun if you're looking. If you have $25, you want something fun to wear to a conference or just around.
There you go.
I think I've seen 20 people have purchased a best day ever t-shirt.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
That's actually a good amount.
yeah, I thought so. Especially with my big sales pitch.
Imagine if you put some effort into it.
So hang on, we're gonna come back to this. We'll come back to this. My wife said these t-shirts suck. I said I know, but it's what's integrated with like YouTube and like it's their thing, right? Like I mean, you could do other stores or whatnot, and but it's not. It's not like it's not easy. And she's like, you know what? She's got like 3 projects she's working on. She says, as soon as I'm done with these projects, I'm gonna like redo your store. So we'll see.
Well,
She's been
that'll
working
be
on those
nice.
3 projects for like 12 months now. So I don't know when that'll actually unfurl, but so
Look,
don't wait for her. But you
look
know,
for the new store launch in 2026.
yeah. And I apologize, honey, if you're watching. She's a great help. She helps with lots and lots of things. So I should not make fun of her. sorry. You continue on. That's right.
Wow, getting it all out. I mean, it's a good first episode back. So
60% of the time it works every time.
yes.
Oh.
All right. Well, I think the majority of us are understand what the Contoso data model looks like, right? You can see our tables across the side here. All
Yeah.
right. We got our fact table is going to be under sales. And then, we have a couple dimension tables. Currency exchange just sits out there. Since it's in the lake, it's actually, I added it into the model, but I don't think it's connected to anything. Let's do this though. Let's actually look at our
Hang on,
model.
but can you go back real quick?
Yeah.
I what happens when you click on like the customer table? This isn't anything you
Oh,
can't
so
show.
this is for our paginated. Let me go to Control 4, right? So if I click here,
Okay, good. Control.
now it's going to query that table in record time and show us what that table looks like.
See, isn't that cool? Like I was just showing that to someone this week, and they were like, "Wait a minute, what the heck is this?"
Yeah.
They just didn't know that you could just go and look at a table and see that information. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so to select the measures, we got to create the paginated report. I haven't looked into this, so I could fail miserably here, Enterprise AR. But they've upgraded the paginated report.
Let's go.
Let's go. we could come in and there's a better experience in building the paginated report up on the service now. And maybe this should be like a whole nother live stream someday. But I think you could add filters. Yeah, you could put filters in and stuff now. Go ahead. What'd you say, Chris?
Yeah, this is a different live stream. We should come back to this one.
We should go back.
Sorry, I rabbit holed you.
I like it. All right. Let me open up the model just so that we do know what this looks like. I think the other side of this is that they're getting so much closer for us to be able to do everything we want to do on the service. Closer, not there yet, but closer.
No, I joke. I kid. I kid. I kid.
So one of the things that I want to point out is, you notice on the date, I do have two different relationships, right? I have my active relationship that's on order date, and then I have my inactive relationship that's on delivery date. So this is pretty much the standard setup that we use for Contoso, right? Everything is going one to many to the sales table. All right, so we should all have this understanding. That's great. Let's go in and actually write our DAX queries. I'm going to click Write DAX Query. And the first thing that comes up is it just randomly picks a table and puts an evaluate statement out there. Evaluate, again, is kind of like your select, right? Everything underneath the evaluate is going to try to return a table. So if you are trying to just evaluate a measure without making that turned into a single row, one row, one column table, it will give you an error message. So you do need to make sure that
Kevin,
everything, yeah.
so I don't know how to write a DAX query. Is there anything in here that can help me learn how to write a DAX query or write it for me?
You bet, right? So like here, it already wrote this one for us. So if we're going to see the top 100 products, if I actually click run, it's only the top of the hour. We don't have to move that fast, do we?
No.
But yes, Chris, let's say that I want to see this for customer and I still don't want to type, I could go say show top 100 for customer, just like we did over there. It writes this just a little bit differently. Notice that it's saying it's using select columns and then top end, and it's actually, now I could come in here and comment out and actually have only certain columns. Let's say I want to comment all these out, and I'm going to use my keyboard, Control KC, and then I got to take this little comma off too.
Did everyone get that? Control KC?
Control KC and the Sunshine Band. Oh, that's an old reference. But you see now I have less columns that it's selected, right? I only have down to stateful. So yeah, you can kind of get started with this and then start using your DAX functions to filter, to do whatever. So let's say I have a measure. That's the wrong table. This one has a measure on it. I have my measure of sales amount. I could also do a quick query of where I want to define and evaluate.
Ooh.
Okay.
And look, it's creating new queries. There are new queries down on the bottom there.
Yes, each one produces a new query down at the bottom.
So I didn't lose anything. As you do another one, you get a new query there.
Exactly. So, and I really do like this for, I needed to do something real quick with some model the other day, and I knew that I had this on a capacity. So you do have to be on a capacity in order for this to work. And then you have to do those 200 steps we showed just a little while ago. No, 3, maybe 4. Right. And so I was like, well, what was that in my data? Did I put this in? What does it look like? And I, just quickly got on the service to start exploring some of my data. So yeah, I love this type of thing. Now, the other thing is, remember, because DAX Query View allows us to change measures, I could come up here. I'm going to just take this off for whatever reason. Let's say I want this measure should have just summed up. I don't know why that's highlighting red. Oh, because this is sub X. But let me take this out. Let me make this a sum, and it's just going to sum net price. So I could run this and see the different number that I get. And I could go, well, is that the right thing? Is it not? If I want to update the model, I could click update and overwrite the measure. And that's going to actually change my model, right? So the one thing to make sure that you have is source control turned on, right? connect your workspace to a repository, either on Azure DevOps or now GitHub. There's a whole nother session. I connected mine to GitHub the other day, and I had a little bit of things I had to look up to do it, but I got it to work. And I think using GitHub is going to open up a lot of things, right? People could share stuff across, and you could fork their GitHub repository, then just mount it up onto your Fabric capacity. It's going to be great. But anyways, so I could save all this. I could test it out. Let me get back because I don't want to change that. So I use Control Z, normal, right? Undo actually worked. I was surprised that worked. And yeah, so just a lot of fun. But wait, there's more.
Hang on, Kevin or Jack's got Kevin. Jack has a question. How much of what we're doing is capacity level dependent? Like, i.e., is it different with an F2 or versus an F64?
Yeah, so everything that I've shown so far is available at any premium capacity. Any capacity. Let me take the word premium out of there. What I even tested the other day, and I stumbled upon this just by chance. I have a model on premium per user, and I was able to use DAX Query. So I was really kind of happy about that. So if anything is backed by the premium capacity, I didn't test if it works on just the Pro, but I doubt it, because notice what we turned on ahead of time. We had to turn all those settings on, including having the XMLA endpoint read write. That's telling me it's using the XMLA endpoint. That XMLA endpoint is not available in the Pro capacity. So if you're in premium per user, any of the F SKUs, you could use this. Now, the next part that I'm going to jump into is, if you notice, Copilot is lit up right away here. And even in the lower capacities, this Copilot button is enabled. And what I've noticed in some of the others is it's not enabled up until you actually are backed by a capacity. But this one, it happens to be enabled all the time. And what I tested it with, I tried to click on it. If you're in a lower capacity or a trial capacity, it's going to tell you Copilot isn't going to work. So we're going to jump into some of the Copilot type of things and show you what it could do. That is only from the F64, and it has to be, a paid F64 or above. Jack, I hope that answered your question. All right. So kind of go back to, we have some experience with DAX queries, right? But we don't know enough to write them all ourselves. This is where the Copilot could come in. And I have a couple prompts that I saved. So you'll see we have Copilot that I could click on it up here. And you get that little warning. We'll come back to that. Or when it's over on this side, I could click on it. And you could ask for it to suggest your measures, explain DAX topic, or write a DAX query. And when I click exit, let me show you what that comes up, right? The Copilot prompts that you have and everything are not going to get saved kind of behind the scenes. And so, it's going to verify with you. But I'm going to show you where it kind of saves them. So I'm going to come in here and say, I want you to write a DAX query to show the top 10 product sales for last year. And I'm going to click go. It's going to think about it for a while. And this is where we sing some more of Casey and the Sunshine Band. I heard Donald was listening to it now.
Hi.
Yeah. Let me get this window down a little bit.
Do you remember cassette tapes, Kevin?
Yes. Do you remember 8-track tapes?
Funny story. The first car I ever owned had an 8-track tape in it, and it was the first thing I ever had to get fixed or replaced on a car, because all I had was an 8-track, and a Peter, Paul, and Mary 8-track cassette, and I don't know who the heck Peter, Paul, and Mary are, but like they have this Lemon Tree song that to this day like gets into my head. It's like, oh my gosh, what is happening here?
That might be
I
your
remember 8-tracks. I
yeah.
upgraded to the cassette tape.
Yeah. all that fun stuff. And then waiting for your favorite song to come on the radio to record it to your cassette tape. And
Yeah,
kids these days, they got it so easy. Anyways, speaking about having it easy, right? You could just come in, ask this to write you a query with Copilot to show the top 10 product sales for last year. And look, it did it for us. And it's asking, hey, do we want to keep this query, discard this query? So I'm going to tell it to keep it.
yeah.
It does keep your prompt up in the comment. Okay.
Wow.
So I do like that. And then,
Look
we
at
could,
this.
yeah. And so it's coming in, it's defining a variable and it, give it a really good name. What is last year? So it's taking the max of the year column and it's subtracting 1 from it. So it's getting last year. And then it's using that in our top N and it's getting just the top 10 from summarized columns. Here's our product name. Keep filters probably isn't needed in this context, but fine. Where date year equals last year sales amount. So let's run it. And we're going to get 10 results or not.
Did you select something?
I don't know. Oh, I must have had something highlighted. Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you highlight it, wow, what's going on?
Date year.
Single value for the column year cannot be determined. Wow.
Oh, change that to the underscore, right? Or no?
No.
Oh no, yeah, that's right.
Wow, I don't know what's going on. All right, well, it was a great demo. It's good to be here.
We tried to debug the DAX live.
Oh, too much. Let's get rid of that. Why don't you like this? That is so weird.
A single value for
If we just take that out and run it. Now that's across all years.
Yep. Maybe it's not supposed to be. Is it supposed to be keep filters? It's supposed to just be.
We could take the whole keep filters off. Oh, because this has to be. This part needs to be a table. Let's do it as this way.
Oh my gosh, we're breaking out the treat as.
I love treat as. Oh, wait.
Good morning, Stina. Good to see you.
Table. Last year. Date. It does have IntelliSense when things are looking right. All right. Does this work? So this is just telling us that Copilot doesn't always, there we go, doesn't always return DAX that works every time. I thought it did last time for me. So this was really kind of interesting. All righty. Well, we got it working again by knowing our tree has. What do we talk
Well,
about with AI all the time? Trust but verify.
yeah, and so I don't really want to get on my like soapbox here, but like this is Kevin hit the nail on the head. We have to verify these results, make sure that they're right. Even if it runs successfully, you have to go in
Mhm.
and look over the code, then go in and look at that data, make sure that it's right. It can be a little a little wonky, and Stina hit it on nail on the head. DAX is easy, but it's not simple, especially in live demos. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
or especially when Copilot doesn't generate something for you correctly.
yeah. I will say that's my biggest worry with Copilot capabilities and DAX is that uh, I mean, it's one thing when it doesn't work. Hey, at least you didn't get the wrong results, right? When it works, if it doesn't produce the right results and you don't know how to verify it or someone doesn't know how to do that,
Mhm.
now all of a sudden you've got a real big problem. So, like,
Yeah.
I think there should be more like potential flags around these things.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
have an example of that, right?
oh,
Let me see if I can figure out which. Um,
not.
Here it is. Let me grab this query, this one,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm going to come over to my Copilot, and I'm going to put in here is write the code. It was an interesting way of asking it to write a query to segment customer sales by high is greater than 1,000, medium is 500 to 1,000, or low is less than 500, and provide the distinct customer count by month for 2023. So kind of complex, right? It's going to try. When I did this the other day and I ran the results, it was obvious it wasn't correct. And I didn't sit down and debug what the query should look like. We're not going to try to debug it here, but this, I think, kind of proves your point, assuming it comes out um, the same way, right? So it is trying to, this looks like, yeah, so it's trying to produce a class where we got high, medium, and low. This looks a little bit different, so I wonder if it is going to run. Oh, so yeah, so this doesn't even run in this format. What is it trying to do? We're not going to debug it all, but
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
what it came out the other day is the all the values were exactly the same,
Mm,
right? So it was obvious to me that it wasn't working.
right.
Um, so that's one of the extreme cases where you could tell something doesn't work. But what'd be worse is if the values were different but still wrong. Right now, it's harder to debug, and that kind of I think proves your point. I did want to get to a couple things that I did see that worked, and this was one that impressed me. Remember, I uh, came out with I was showing you the relationships, and I have that one relationship that's inactive. So we know we could use that inactive relationship, and so I'm going to ask this to write a measure to show sales by delivery date. And so now this is going to come in and generate for us. And again, we get to sit here and think on it for a little while.
Hold on a second. While that's thinking, while you're pulling that up, while
Hmm.
you review that, we're gonna like hop over and we're going to congratulate Saeed just getting his fabric certification. He just posted this live while he's in our live stream right now. So
Wow.
way to go. It's rare we can congratulate someone live on a live stream. In fact, this is the first time this has ever occurred, but I got notification that you just posted this. So congratulations, Saeed. Well done. All right, sorry.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yes.
All right. So we can see here's the query that it thinks it's going to give to us. We could choose to keep it or decline it. I am going to go ahead and say keep it again, and we can walk through it this way. So to me, this produced the correct query, right? Because it's doing that use relationship, that inactive relationship that we have on there, right? which I think is great. What does that tell me? That it is taking the metadata from our model and it's using it within Copilot to help figure out the measures and everything to write.
Hmm.
And then, of course, I could sit here and now update this. And once I update it, that's going to be a measure now in my model available to me. And I could use it on my report, right? So you can see here it updated over onto the side, and we have multiple measures.
Well, look at that. So Dan was asking, hey, can he update it in the model? It looks like the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna guess that if you're not able to, you're missing one of the settings that Kevin highlighted and showed before. So
Right.
Well done. Well done.
Well. So that was about
man. I
yeah.
love this.
I don't know if there's anything more that people want to see.
But it's in the desktop too, right? The same thing.
It's in the desktop. If you connect it to an F64 workspace, a workspace connected that's backed by the F64 or the P1, you could use Copilot there. And then there, it will save the queries, right? So that's going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, we're trying to get more and more things up on the service and show how things on the service work. And if I close
Fernando,
this down,
while he didn't, he's asking, if you close the model and come back, will it still be there? Sales by delivery date? Let's see if it's still there.
Oh, the measure will definitely be there.
Well,
If I close this out, if I return back to my workspace, all of those queries that I just wrote are gone, right?
Okay.
But I could open up my model and remember here in my model, in the metadata, this is here.
Sales by delivery date. Son of a bee.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you could make changes to your model. Now, if I had this set up to source control, I don't think I have this one on. No, I don't. I don't have this connected to source control. But if I did, then you would see that I had a change to commit to source control, which would be the right thing to do here.
Oh, that's awesome. And Nate, you are correct. You can't update a measure in a live connected report. That is right. You're spot on. That's where the old trick of like always using an underscore measure name in any report level measures so that you can then give that back to the enterprise team or whoever's managing the model to add that in without the underscore. Then you don't have breaking changes you have to sort out. And
exactly.
All that good stuff.
Yep. I love that.
Dude, that's awesome. That is fantastic.
Go ahead.
So, great job in going. Yeah. Melinda is exactly right. Underscores, no spaces, and no cursing.
Well, yeah. In your names, right, you want to have spaces, right, in order to make it business presentable. But what we're talking about is a little bit of an exception to the rule here for measures that you define in the thin report, only for that. And you start it with an underscore. And yes, then what you have to do is go rename that measure on the visual to get rid of that so that it shows nicer on there and everything. But the reason that you do that is if you find that in a thin report, you're using the same measure over and over again, that should get to the semantic model. And what you want to be able to do is put it in the semantic model without the underscore at the very first character. Then you could go back through all of your thin reports when you're ready to touch them and switch that to use the measure from the model, and those thin reports won't break. If you use the same name that exists in your semantic model and is in your thin report, your thin report will break. So that's the reason for doing it. It's a way to set up for maintenance in the future. So do things to help your future self.
Yep. Hey, this is a little bit off topic, but it's a little 5-minute demo, and then we'll kind of be wrapping up. Or this is a PSA, and I just noticed this morning, so I'm just going to jump in and share with people.
Okay.
I realized the last time we really probably talked about this was several years ago, so you might not even know that this is a thing that you should go in and do. But inside of the fabric service, up under this question mark, you're going to see a number of links in here. Most of these links go to like standard Microsoft things, like submit an idea is going to launch you over to the ideas site. But we start to get into these training documents, discussion forums, licensing requests, and help desk are customizable inside your tenant admin. These can get set up here. And so if you didn't know that, you can configure these items right here. If you have set these up, though, you probably set these up a long time ago, where the training documentation you're going to send them to people to, well, either it's an internal like Power BI site, and maybe you want to switch it to an internal Fabric site, or you want to start sending people over to the Fabric site that is in there. So I'm going to post those links inside of the chat here. I'm not allowed to post links for some reason. I'm not an admin on my own stream somehow. Interesting.
That's weird.
All right. Well, whatever. But going to like the learning path that's focused in on Microsoft Fabric, getting to all the courses that are available for there, that's a good update to make, as well as updating where your discussion forum for people, sending them into the Fabric community site instead of just into the Power BI or just into one of the others. Like, this is a good time to start making these updates. Now, where you go for like licensing requests, that's going to be like wherever you want your company people to go to. I imagine it's a SharePoint site, or maybe it's ServiceNow or whatever. Same thing with help desk. Where do you send people? You can customize that. But those are all items on the side here. Oh, we lost Kevin. Kevin, you okay? Oh, I hope he's all right. He's got a new standing desk that has been challenging for him. But you can go in and update these items here. So just a small little thing. Just letting you guys know that that's out there. It's now a good time to make that update. I don't know what happened to Kevin. Hopefully he didn't die. Please, Kevin, don't die. So we don't know what happened to him. But hopefully he's just fine. Thank you guys all so much for joining the live stream. We're excited to be back. We'll be back again next Friday. The Friday after that, we're going to have some guest speakers. Look for more of the information come together on Fridays. I don't see any big conflicts coming for a while. Kevin's got a nice trip to Spain coming out, so he'll be in and out. But unless something radically changes on my side, I will be here. Looking forward to spending the time with you guys. So excited to be back. Kevin? No. You guys all have the best day ever, and we will see you next week. Peace. Oh man, I forgot what I'm doing here. I have to click on a button. Where'd my button go? Bye-bye. Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.